today's episode is about the one thing I wish I knew growing up with dyslexia. I tell you, if I knew this at the start, it would have changed the whole game for me. And I know, if you use this, it will change the game for you too. So the big question is this: how can dyslexics like us create a place, a community, a tribe, where people at any stage of life can come and solve any challenge, amplify their strengths, and ultimately help them become who they were meant to be? Or in other words, conquer their dyslexia. That is the question, and this show is the answer. My name's Theo Goff, and welcome to the Conquering Dyslexia podcast. What's happening, guys? I hope you're doing alright. Today, I'm really excited to talk about and to let you know the one thing I wish I knew about my dyslexia, especially when I was younger, especially when I was growing up, having all of these struggles. Because knowing this would have solved so many problems, would have made things so much more easier, and I would be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel and be able to work things out so much more simply. Because I remember when I started off really realizing about my dyslexia, it was early on, me realizing, hold on, I don't understand what's going on in class and other people do. I started thinking that a few people in the class were really smart because they got it, and soon I realized everyone else in the class got it, and except me, and I started realizing, oh my God, I must be the odd one out. I must be the weird one, the one that can't do it. What's wrong with me? Why am I different? And this was in the English classroom, and it escalated from year two, year one, realizing it in the English classroom, and through the time realizing it more and more, being called out of class more and more, having this extra person trying, give me help or whatever, more and more, and really seeing that I'm somewhat different than other people, and not in a good way, in a way that the teachers don't know how to teach me, in a way that I keep on trying to do the same thing over and over and over and not being able to do it, and other kids can see that and they're doing it and they can get it easy and they can't understand why I'm not doing it. And I remember getting really angry, and I remember at this time my mum and dad were going for the divorce. So anyway, that was ugly, and I remember sort of lashing out at home, lashing out at my brother, lashing out at my mum and dad for nothing. Why? Because I felt I felt safe with them. I felt like I could lash out in front of them. I remember one time, you could say I was a kid with anger issues. You could say that easily. I remember one time my brother would have said something, a couple of years older than me, and I chased him around a little arcade. We were by the beach. I chased him around an arcade with a metal spade. That's some things that I did back then, because I feel internally I was so angry. Internally I was so confused. Internally I was so frustrated, and that came out in all these ways of me hating people, of me lashing out, of me punching out. And I remember it spilled over from me basically getting loads of fights with my brother and my mum and dad to moving into getting fights in school, really being an outcast. I remember this was basically in year 3 and year 4. I was lashing out at everyone. I remember, I was quite a lot of friends back then, I remember. But then I started to say to myself, I have no friends. And I get in all these massive rages, and when people used to try and comfort me, I used to lash out at them. And even though they had the best at heart, but I didn't want to open up to anyone, because I think what I did subconsciously was decide I don't want to let anyone else be close to me so they can hurt me. And I thought, in my head I was like, okay, I'm going to hurt them before they have the chance to hurt me, and I'm not going to let anyone inside. And instead of being known as this person who can't read and write, I'd be known as this person that gets kicked out of a class, this troublemaker or whoever. But at least it's something I can control compared to something I can't control. And as this would happen, I was sent outside school for all these different people to meet all these different people. And I remember one year, I think it was this in year 4, I couldn't go to the school play because, take part in school play, because I missed so many days. I had to go out to see all these people up in London, that I had so many days missing music and drama that they couldn't have a role for me because I missed so many days of school. And that's because of me seeing all these people and going through all this struggle, really, and going from that and finally finding out there's a dyslexic school nearby, went to court, all this ugly battle, going to my dyslexic school, hating that. My best friend for a year and a half was a wall, and my best game was wall ball. Anyways, been there for 8 years of my life, still struggling, having a lot of help, a lot of support, a lot of you can do it, and all these strategies. And yes, I was improving my reading and writing and confidence, but millimeters each year at a minute level. But then after that, I moved to a sixth form, moving to a school with 50 kids to a school of over 1,000 kids. In this sixth form, there was so many people. I got lost every single day. And you know what? My confidence was all right in this dyslexic school. But as soon as I got moved to the sixth form, my confidence completely took a dive. Because I was so nervous. I was so scared. I didn't have a clue what was going on in the lessons. And something changed. Something changed. I remember watching this little video on my iPad with this guy saying, the only way to change your life is to take responsibility of your life. And, I realized that my whole body vibrated. And, I realized the truth. I realized, hold on, I can get there. Hold on, I could get that thing. Hold on, it's up to me. Like, for example, I didn't care about reading and writing. I cared about confidence. And I realized I had such cripplingly low confidence that I wouldn't do these things. I had such crippling low confidence in myself. I remember people used to look at me, I used to get butterflies in my stomach. I remember going home from school and my face hurts. I never used the muscles in my face. But I remember going from like this person and, okay, I want to improve my confidence. Guess what? I can improve it by taking different actions. And the only reason why I got there is because, yes, of course, I was in a small school, and yes, of course, maybe I find it hard to socialize with more than 2-3 people. But here's the facts. I got myself here. I could have done different actions in order to get to where I want to go, to be confident. I can do it. I just got to take different actions. And from that moment, a couple months passed, took incredible actions, and this girl said to me, who are you and what have you done with Theo? Because I massively improved my confidence. And it went from that into fitness and sport, and went from that into basically my English. Believe it or not, my English, I improved my English like 500% in 1 year compared to basically the rest of my life. And me 5x in my English with not a lot of help in sport. Why? Because I took responsibility of it. But here's the real thing. Here's what I realised at the end of that I wish I knew at the very beginning of my dyslexic journey. Because here's what I believed at the beginning, going through all my dyslexic schools, and I think here's what we believe ourselves. And it's so limiting. And I feel like once we understand this truth, we can start moving forward in our life. So I used to believe that I've got my dyslexia. My dyslexia, I can't change my dyslexia. Like, for example, you think, you get your dyslexia, and dyslexia never goes away. You can't cure, you can't fix dyslexia. And I used to believe all this. And yes, of course, that's right. But I used to believe I can't fix my dyslexia. I find it hard reading and writing. So I always find it hard reading and writing. I find these things hard. So I always find these things hard. I find being confident hard. So I would always find being confident hard. I can't do these things. These things are challenging. That's because of my dyslexia. I can't change my dyslexia. And I went on throughout my sixth form, from my dyslexia school, believing that, look, yes, I have dyslexia. Yes, these incredibly intelligent people are giving me all the resources on earth to help me with my dyslexia. And doing all of this stuff and putting the best foot forward. And I knew that was the best foot. And here's the thing. I thought I was getting the best help. Well, I was getting the best help and support. I thought, okay, this is the maximum of my capabilities, because I couldn't ask for any more help and support. But when I left that school, I felt like I had no resources to deal with the real world, to deal with what's out there. And guess what? I had to create my own resources, not through having help, but through basically taking responsibility of my life. But here's the thing I realized at the end of the journey: if I believed that at the beginning, and if I understood this at the beginning, it would change the whole game for me. And I'm about to tell you what it is. It's this. I realized at the end of this journey of improving my English, basically getting C in English, confidence massively improved, I loved my future. I believed that it's not what you have that counts. It's what you do with what you have that counts. It's not the help and support and guidance and all this stuff that counts to you personally. It's what you do with what you have that counts. Now, I'm speaking about you personally, thinking about, okay, I need to get more help, I need to get more support. If I just had this, if I just had that, if I just, had these people supporting me, then I would get me better. And then I would, do something, and then I could make progress on that. That completely lies. It doesn't matter what you have, it matters what you do with what you have that counts. For example, I dramatically improved my English, not by having more help. I had so much less help, but I did more of what I had that improved it. For example, if I was at the start of my journey and I realised that it's not what I have, it's what I do with what I have that counts, I would have really focused on, okay, it's up to me to improve these things. And guess what? I'm going to do a lot more of what I have and directly improve it from there. And yes, you can say taking responsibility and really realising it's what you have that counts. That's the thing I'm trying to get across here, is how I can say it in the most simplistic terms. And please, if you listen to this, I write things out. I don't read it after I write it, because guess what? When I write things fast, it's illegible. But please write this down. It's not what you have that counts. It's what you do with what you have that counts. Because someone may have the best help and support in the world. But yeah, if they don't really utilize it, if they don't do a lot with what they have, guess what? If you had very little help or support, nil help or support, but guess what? You do more with what you have. And what do you have? You may not have the support. You may not have the dyslexic school. You may not have the dyslexic tutor. You have the internet. You have videos. You have information. You have Facebook groups. You have connections that can help you along this journey. And guess what? I have the same internet as you. You know what I mean? Like, for example, you had all that. I know firsthand all the helps out there for dyslexics, because I created a lot of it, and so many other people are creating so much of it. And so there's a lot of support out there on the internet. That's the internet. You can access it just like anyone else in the world who's got an internet connection can access it. So just access it, and then look at that's such a good resource. But you have to use it. Use this resource, and then guess what? You'll be doing so much more better than the person who has everything, who's not doing a lot of it. So guys, that is the key. That is what I wanted to get across to you, right now. Because look, I've statistically one of the worst dyslexics in England myself, and I've communicated this and I helped coach all these other people who've got dyslexia in their own lives. And look, once you start realising that you have dyslexia, and yes, you may have it severe, you may have this, you may have that. But once you start realising it's what you do with what you do with it that counts. It's not that support, it's what you do with what you have that counts. Everything changes. You stop looking for the extra help and support and the excuse, or blaming the excuse. You start asking, how can I do that? For example, this is a great quote by Jim Rohn. You don't ask for things to be easier, you ask for you to be better. And once you ask for you to be better, you get better. That's my whole philosophy. Once I studied, how to be, how the mind works and how to really do what you want, start asking those questions, start realizing, okay, how can you be better? And that's going from now, basically, I'm doing so much research on becoming an English teacher to teach in another country English to kids in Thailand. I'm going in there in like a month's time. And I'm so excited about that. But I could have never, ever done that when I was in my sixth form, when I was struggling, when I was in my dyslexic school. I couldn't have done that because my skill set, my belief wasn't there. But once I realized, look, it's what I have, it's what I do with what I have that counts, I can start building upon it. So basically, you have to start where you are right now and start building upon yourself. Because guess what? You can build upon yourself. Guess what? You can improve your dyslexia. What I mean by improving your dyslexia, you can find strategies around these problems, or you can solve the problem itself. For example, reading, writing. I never read a book in my life, and then I went for this thing called Universal Reading Method, and then I read 4 books in 4 months. And that's a strategy that solved the problem. Another thing is text. I wrote a book. It took me 3 years to write a book. My spelling's awful. It still isn't great, but I did the whole spelling. I got someone to help me with it, and I had all these Grammarly, all these other things helping me, and I worked around the problem. And you can build up these strategies and these techniques to help you to get to where you want to go. because I'm going to be able to teach English in another language. Of course it's going to be challenging. Of course it's going to be hard. But I know I'm going to do it, and I know I can do it, and I know I'm going to be damn good at it because I've built up all of these coping strategies of dealing with things, either solving problems or working around problems. And guess what? Here's a little thing I want to end with. You may be thinking, oh wow, you've done all of this despite your dyslexia. You've done this, and because despite your dyslexia. But here's the thing, I didn't do it despite my dyslexia. I didn't pass my exam. I didn't, I didn't write a book. I didn't do all these different things. I'm not doing this despite my dyslexia. I'm doing this because of my dyslexia. Now here's such a key thing. You're doing it because, not despite. The only reason I'm confident, the only reason I'm as confident as I am, the only reason I want to do things, the only reason I have the vision that I want to have is because of my dyslexia. Because here's the thing, you have dyslexia, that gives you your life. You are dyslexic. When people say, oh, I don't want to define myself as dyslexic, well, you have a dyslexic mind. It's a part of you. And guess what? If you don't love your dyslexia, you can't truly love yourself. So when I'm saying, look, it's because of my dyslexia I've done this, really realizing the struggles you faced in the past led you onto this direction as you're going on now. And if you'd never faced the struggles when you're facing in the past, you would never be where you are right now. And if you're going through the middle of the struggles, of course it's hell, of course it's scary and frightening and awful. But realize once you get out of that struggle and once you find a way out and there is a light at the end of the tunnel, you'll be so much stronger because of it. And you can look back thinking, if I can overcome this, I can overcome anything. Anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. I feel it's such a key, important takeaway about the most important thing I've learned is it's not what you have, it's what you do with what you have that counts. I'll see you again, guys, tomorrow.